In June 2017, I packed up my belongings in my North London studio and left the UK for Ghana for good. Fed up with the exorbitant cost of living and what followed the Brexit referendum, I decided I'd be better off starting afresh in the country of my parents' birth rather than the one of my own. The first 3 months were a struggle. Every day I threatened to return to the UK, fed up with the slow pace of life, the grinding traffic, the pollution, the noise, no electricity, no water, I could go on. It wasn't until 6 months later that I found my purpose, when I opened my private library to the public using 1,300 of my own books, predominantly by writers of African descent. The idea behind the library was twofold: to give Ghanaians access to books that weren't easily accessible, and to expose them to the breadth of writing by African writers from across the continent and the diaspora. But in the 2 years since I launched Libraria Ghana, I've seen firsthand the obstacles Ghanaians face when it comes to basic literacy. Working with underserved schools and communities, from the children of market women to farming communities whose lands have been decimated by legal and illegal mining, I know that literacy for many in Africa is a luxury, while in the West it's a right. Despite what some Western journalists think, there are bookshops in Africa. The book famine of the 1970s doesn't exist today. There's an abundance of books in circulation on the continent, many donated by huge international charities whose job it is to provide books to African children. The question is, what kind of books? Where do they come from and who were they written for? What do they teach African readers about themselves and the world? In December 2018, my colleague and I urged Ghanaians in the diaspora coming home for Christmas to bring a book, leave a legacy. They responded in their numbers. Our Book Drop Ghana campaign, run on social media over a 4-week period on a shoestring budget, generated over 400 donations of culturally relevant books to be distributed to schools and communities across Ghana's 16 regions. We don't do charity. Charity is something that's done to us, not for us or by us. We work hand in hand with communities from the top down to the bottom up and vice versa to ensure everyone has an emotional stake in the outcome. That way, the value is embedded and the labour continues in the between times when we're no longer there. This work isn't completely selfless, though. For every community I serve, it's not just their lives that are changed, but mine. To deny the feeling of pleasure and indeed self-satisfaction that comes from knowing you've made a difference to an individual, a community, and by extension, a society, would be to deny being human. There are no saviours, not even black ones. Now, the vision has taken on a new form. I've realised that in order for us as Africans to fully embrace literature as our own, we must not only see ourselves in books, but we must understand that our literary heritage is broad and deep. That Africa and her diaspora has produced great written works dating back centuries, and we continue to contribute to the world's literary legacy. That literature and storytelling belong to us and is in our blood. One of the world's oldest universities was not in Greece, but in Mali. As early as 982 CE, the great city of Timbuktu was an intellectual hub and centre of progressive thought. Its manuscripts are testament to Africa's written history, the seeming absence of which was used to justify our enslavement and deny our humanity. This, despite the fact that Ethiopia has one of the world's oldest living alphabets. The decolonization of knowledge and the literary canon is essential for Africans. There's a powerful scene in the movie Black Panther in which Eric Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan, goes to the Museum of Britain and steals back or reclaims artifacts from the fictional kingdom of Wakanda. In recent years, the movement to return stolen artifacts to African museums has generated much debate, but missing from this are the great works of Africa's literary heritage. Where are the manuscripts, rare editions, and ephemera? Who owns Africa's multifarious narratives? Where are our national libraries and museums to showcase Africa's literature and make it available to the public? It's with these questions in mind that what started out as my little library in a suburb of Accra has now evolved into what we call the Library of Africa and the African Diaspora, and its mother institution, the Museum of African and African Diaspora Literature. Our mission is to collect and showcase the rare, out-of-print and first edition work and ephemera of great African and diaspora writers from the 20th and 21st centuries and return them to their rightful place. I want Africans to know that we come from a rich literary legacy. Only then can we claim our place in the global canon and demand our right to literacy and literature. Thank you.